Hey, Racer, what's up, man?
Peace, 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 brother Core. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I heard that intro music when I came in. You about to start your own show? About to get your own show popping?
Nah, man. For some reason that music just came on when I started the space automatically. Twitter did that. That was not of my doing. You know what I'm saying? I had no control of that, but
Okay.
we got it under control right now. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. Now, I was gonna say, man, if you're gonna start your own show, man, let me know, man. Let me know. You probably should.
I'm considering it. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I don't have the adequate time to really put my energy all into a show right now. But I'm definitely considering that, and I definitely take you up on your offer, man. If I ever engage in that, brother. Well, anyway, how you doing, brother? What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm just chilling, enjoying my time off. Trying to figure out some extra ways to make money besides my main 9 to 5. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You need multiple streams of income, man, all day, all night. We always got to, as a black man in this country, we always got to do things two times dope, at least. So you know how that go. What's up, Sister Ange? Brother Quadil, what you think about the topic?
Immigration is the reason for high crime in the United States. Well, let's just look at New York City and look at the names of the people who are always in these articles. They're never really names of foundational Black Americans. Like that guy who beheaded that. Didn't someone behead somebody in New York? No, no, no. I'm thinking about the guy that rubbed feces on that lady's face. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that dude. He wasn't a foundational Black American. But because he looks like us, we're going to get the blame for it.
Absolutely not. Now, I'll also, I'm gonna save the goodies for, hopefully we get a couple people up in here. But it's all good, Sister Ange. Don't worry about it. But hope you're gonna get a couple of people in here. And I'm really gonna get into the meat of it. But it's definitely historical proof that we could prove how immigration has brought a not only high crime into the communities, particularly the major cities of America, but also how it has brought a different level of criminality into the United States of America. And not only that, there's evidence I can prove that. And I particularly want the naysayers, to come in here and refute that if they can. So, I appreciate everybody tweet this space out, and let's see if we get the tethers and the non-FBAs and anybody who has something different to say about the title. What's up, Miss Ange? How you doing?
Hey, brother Rick, how you doing? I'm about to take some medicine now. My tooth about to start hurting, but I was about to say, you gotta put the flags up there. You put the different flags up, they gonna come running.
Oh yeah, you know how that go. I don't have I don't have any space up there in the title for all the
Oh, okay,
flags.
okay, yeah.
So how you doing,
They
Sister
gonna
Ange?
come.
Oh, y'all see, you said you got your tooth pulled. So
Yeah.
I understand if you're trying to, choose your words wisely. But I appreciate you coming in.
Hey,
Oh
Rich,
yeah.
peace to y'all. Peace to the room.
Peace, peace. What up, brother?
What's up? What's up, man? Peace to all my haters too. I know got one in here, but yeah, peace to you, man. Hey, peace to Q.
So what you think about the title, homie?
Hey, immigration is the reason for the high crime rate in the United States. I definitely agree with that. Um, as we can already tell, because we talking about the delineation process, we a lot of those crimes are not committed by us, but we get blamed. Again, as I repeat, a lot of those crimes that we get blamed for are not by us, it's by those black immigrants. A lot of that Asian hate crime, those were Haitians, those were Africans. So
Right. I don't think our communities are particularly responsible for high crime in America at all. You if you notice, even though white supremacists, they love to use Chicago as a euphemism to represent the black community, but um, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even believe that Chicago as a city is even on the top 10 as the highest, most dangerous cities in the United States. So that's a false narrative within itself. So there you go.
very, very false narrative. Like we we have discussions pretty much every day. Um, and you know how the immigrants, they like to bring up Old Block or Chicago. I mean, I stayed in. Well, I didn't specifically stay in Chicago and Illinois, but I stayed in East Chicago and Gary, Indiana. Um, and I was walking down. I was walking in the blocks. I was in the neighborhoods. I was there for a month because I have family over there, and nothing really was going on. No shootouts. No one was robbing nobody. Nothing like that. It was a good community. So all that pretense that people dying every week and whatnot, onesies or twosies, is a very false narrative. And when I was in the army, uh, we had stories about white folks in Kentucky or station order or whatnot. They be going up to Chicago and committing these ghost shootings and shit like that. So all that shit is very false pretenses. When they say there's shootouts, it's not even us. A lot of times it's them. They'll go to neighborhoods and they'll just let off some shots or and hit people as well. I mean that has nothing to do with immigration, but it has a lot to do with that Chicago BS that they be talking about, and now they're flooding the gates with them, and it's just going to get worse. So I land my plane. Hey, Cognitive, what's up? Nikki the God, what's up? Oh, my bad.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. So what's up, Nikki? Brother on call. Appreciate y'all coming in. Uh, I appreciate y'all could tweet out this space. We're gonna get into a real deep conversation about immigration and the high crime rate in the United States, and not only in today but through history. Brother Chakar, I see you. Brother Be Real, I see you. Peace to y'all. What's up, sister Nikki? Hold on, let me see you a mic, Nikki. I ain't talked to you in a little while. Hi, Nikki. How you doing?
I'm good. I just been really busy lately, working and preparing for the holidays.
That's a good thing.
I haven't
That's
been
a good
on
thing.
much. Yeah, nothing personal. I just been really busy working doubles and stuff because nobody else wants to work the holiday seasons, and also my family's up here from Dallas, so I'm entertaining them as well. How's everybody doing? Peace and love, everybody. Hi, Cognitive. Hi, Racer Bow, Soul and Decatur. Miss
You call me
Angela.
DJ.
Peace, everybody.
What's going on, Nikki?
Going on.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with working. You know what I'm saying? Go get that check.
Yeah, I even missed
Keep
Tariq's
that money
last
coming in.
broadcast on Sunday, and I never miss it. I normally take off work for that, but I ain't gonna be able to take off no more on Sundays. So it is what it is. Boring life. Always just busy. I miss y'all though. I can't hear nobody on stage.
You hear me?
Yeah, I
You hear
hear
me,
you.
Nikki?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you.
So
I'm glad you working. That getting the money coming in. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's up? What's up?
yeah, I wanted to do some volunteer work for that day, but I have to work and my family's up here, so I wasn't able to. And I had to have a friend up here who's a B1 code sister, and we were supposed to do some, make some free meals for people, but I wasn't able to do that because I've been taking off, and it's my time to work. So I'm kind of pissed actually because I feel like a slave to the job. I feel like a slave, like all I do is work, and I don't have time to take vacations and entertain myself. So yeah, I need to switch that up for 2023. Enough of that.
Dang, funny thing, I had seen a tweet. I gotta look for it. I'm not sure if it's on my timeline or I'm not even sure if I saw it on Instagram. But one of the brothers and sisters had put up a way to amalgamate your time off with holidays and the weekends, so you can have a maximum of a certain amount of time off every year.
Really, you got to give me that information, sir.
Yeah, I gotta find it. I gotta find it. It's floating around the internet somewhere, but I'll look for it for you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll mute up and let you finish teaching.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate you. But real quick before you go, what you think about the title?
Immigration is the reason for high crime in the United States. I think it will bring people in. You have to think about those Somalis in Minnesota and those Somali gangs. That's something that needs to be waking up. That's something, it's like a hidden secret. Like people don't talk about it. They look, even though their heads are bigger, they look like us. And they got us being blamed for gang activity in certain areas of the country. And then look at the crime in Miami. That's all immigrants doing that shit. It's barely any FBAs cutting people's heads off and doing shit like that, like they're doing. That's nothing but people coming in from South American countries and the Caribbean doing that shit. And I hate to be hateful towards immigrants because I don't want to be that way, but the truth is what it is. And then there's some in the New York area that do shit like that. And then you got California. In California, you got the people who walk over the border and break into people's homes. My friend had my friend heard a noise in his 4-year-old daughter's room, and he walked in, and it was some guy who just crossed the border, I guess recently, and he was breaking into his 4-year-old daughter's room. So let's wake that up. I'm done.
Thank you, sister Nikki. I appreciate you. Go ahead, brother. So long. It's on you. Go ahead, D. Brother, so it's on you. You wanna go?
He might be away.
Okay, yeah. It's all good. It's no problem. But anyway, if you're just coming into the room, I appreciate you coming in here. Y'all see what the title is. Immigration is the reason for a high crime in the United States. And then a couple people that gave their testimonies in the room already, and you can see that the the experience is similar across the board. And that doesn't not only speak for present times, but once again, this is through history has been proven not only that immigration has brought high crime into the communities of the United States, but it also has brought a certain level of crime into the United States, and this can be proven. And I'm definitely willing to take on any debaters. So please tweet the space out to anybody who's contrary to the title.
I'm sending it out right now in my back channel to a whole bunch of people.
I appreciate that, Sister Nikki, no doubt. I want to give a quick shout out to our good brother Shrampstein. If you're not following that brother, please follow him. You know, I like to call him the male version of our good sister D Tubman. We definitely need our brothers and sisters making archives of these rooms and these conversations. Oh, my brother, you permit pulled up. What's up, you permit? I gotta hear you spit, brother. Hold up. Peace, brother. What's good, you permit?
Hey, morning everybody. I just saw the topic of the room. I just jumped in. So immigration is the reason for high crime in the United States? Of course it is. Percentage of it is. Look at what happened in Minnesota with all the 40 plus Somalian Africans that boosted money from the welfare system. Doing, using the COVID checks and the PPE money for their personal use and sent money over to their country. Second, uh, a lot of the rapes, drug pushing, uh, human trafficking, they have.
Brother, you permit. If you hear us, you're in the matrix a little bit, brother. You're in the matrix a little bit.
Is it better now?
You still a little choppy. If you can make a little some kind of adjustment, that'd be dope.
Yeah. All right. How about now? Better?
Yeah, you good to go, brother.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. And here in Edison, New Jersey, they had busted a bunch of massage parlors, um, and they seized cash, a bunch of weapons, guns, and other heavy artillery weapons, and illegal Asian immigrants, basically human trafficking. It probably didn't hit the news because this is in Jersey, but this is the stuff that goes on. And Racer, you know this for a fact. Whenever they had the Caribbean Day Parade out there in Brooklyn, a lot of them used to turn up on what, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night shooting and stuff. Those of us out there doing all that shooting, that was them out there. Training against Guyana, the Guyanese against, you know, uh, you know, shit, uh, Barbados, the
The
Bajans
Haitians
out
and
there,
shit.
the Bajans out there. So yeah, it's a, you know what, it's a lot of things that they lump that into black on black crime.
Did we lose the brother? I didn't want to cut. I didn't want to
No,
color
no,
the
no. I'm
knowledge.
good. Yeah, yeah. So I digress. I landed right there. But has anybody, since it's a small room, experienced similarities in their areas other than this tri-state area?
And the funny thing, let me speak to that, brother. It's funny that you asked that because sister Nikki just had a testimony, shared her experience, and how the criminality that immigration ushers in affected her. Brother Quadir spoke on it. Brother Soul spoke on it. And I got this. I got this one recorded, so this is going in the archives. We got our good brother Shrampstein backing it up. just like we need, because once again, I'm actually going to speak on that. I think we need definitely need people to archive these conversations, and definitely have records of this, and of these conversations, because these are conversations that not only need to be had, but uh we definitely need these things on record. Period. So go ahead, brother Corday. I'm sorry, bro. It's on you.
Yeah, just real quick. I posted a link in the jumbotron as to what you permit was speaking of about those massage parlors. So it did end up hitting News 12 New Jersey, and I put the link up.
Appreciate you, brother. So anybody got and I'm going to hit the link, and I'm going to actually tweet it out, and put that on the map.
And it seems like those massage parlors rarely get raided. It's as if they have some type of agreement. I went in there with my man years ago. We went and got pedicures together, and this lady was just trying to sell him pussy right in my face, right in my face. And when you're eating at a restaurant, if you go to a Mexican restaurant, the waitress be trying to sell it. They do not care, and they don't get in trouble for doing that at all. Now that y'all bringing some of this up, it's kind of awakening my memory. It's a lot of crime, a lot of things that they bring over. And did y'all see that video where that woman was cooking rats on the street?
Yeah, and that was up
How did
here,
they get away with
and,
that? I
and,
didn't see
and this is
nobody
deliberate,
stopping that.
and
That
this is
was guinea
deliberate.
pigs.
Well, they need to quit cooking guinea pigs on the street.
I
I
even
don't
do
know
one
how they
better.
get away with
There's a
that.
Not to cut you off, Sister Nikki. There's a tweet floating around right now where they selling it in the store. And some of these, little mom and pop supermarkets that's up here. It's really getting out of hand.
And we can't even, and we go to jail just for trying to send our kids to school in a better school district. We get sentenced to prison for that. It's gotten way out of hand. Yeah, they I don't hate people. I don't hate, especially black immigrants. I don't hate them, but their a lot of their morals and views are just so different than ours, and they do things that we don't do, and we get blamed for the things that they bring over here. So, I would appreciate if there was just at least a whole lot less of it, or no immigration. I think that we've gotten all the people over here that we need to get. We don't need no more. Actually, some of them can go back.
No, I think, and I actually think, and in my opinion, I agree with you, Sister Nikki. But I even push it a little further. I think anybody that has come into the country under legal circumstances, anybody that has come here on work or student visas and been able to establish themselves under on expired visas, and they should be penalized, and not only penalized, they should be deported. If you came here on a student visa and it expired, and if somehow a way or another you was allowed to continue to stay here and work and build wealth here, and particularly knowing how their financial habits, they send it, a lot of them send the money back to their country. So you're able to do that, but you was in the country under legal circumstances. You should be penalized and deported, and that goes for immigrants across the board, no matter what color, what race, or what nation you come from. In my opinion, so I landed on that. And then just to be clear about the space, this is not a hate space. I don't hate immigrants. You understand what I'm saying? But we have to have this discussion, and then this is not aimed towards black immigrants. I'm talking immigration across the board. This is why I'm also willing to go in depth into the historical point of immigration, and how once again it had not only bring a high crime to the communities in the United States. It also brought a certain level of crime into the United States of America, and we just need to speak on that. Go ahead, brother. You permit?
You know, the human trafficking stuff is a big piece, but it's a lot of money tied up into that. A lot of wealthy people who get involved in that because during the COVID period, I think it was last year, they busted one of them raggedy ass 4-hour stay hotels in Atlanta, Georgia, that the feds raided, and they pulled out. They said up to 40 kids between the ages of 5 up to 13, 14 years old. And Atlanta is also a major hub for human trafficking. They come up from South America to Houston, Houston to Atlanta. And when that happened, I'm like, wow, a lot of that, and that human trafficking also carries a lot of diseases. A lot of kids get hurt mentally, physically, and health wise. That's something that people do not address. But when it's called out, people look at it as hate. We're not calling it out as being hateful. We calling it out because that's a concern. Just like the illegal immigrants that landed in New York, now all of a sudden there's a spike in COVID. What the hell do you expect? You didn't test them, you didn't quarantine them, you didn't do nothing health-wise for them. You just gave them care packages, a hotel to stay in, and a restaurant to go work in. You see, when black Americans speak out against that, then we're some type of phobic. But we speaking about it because they dump them into our areas, take up our resources, and also put us at a higher risk of getting affected, with these health issues. So it's easy for them to drop them off up there in Martha's Vineyard, where the extreme left lives. Oh yeah, they fed them their organic rice and beans, the whole food shit, and sent their ass right back down to New York City. But nobody said anything about them. Nobody's putting up temporary houses for them. Nobody up in these rich ass areas. They don't do that. And Racer and Quadib, right up New York State, they got all those wineries up there. And if you Google New York State, the demographics of certain parts. Now I might have mentioned this before. I was in Watkins Glen, which is 92% or 98% white, 1% black, and 1% other. They use immigrants to go pick them damn grapes during the season. They put them up in those hotels because those are like, boogaloo mom and pop hotels for the season, and they ship their asses out. Their realtors tell their own people not to sell to anybody other than white. But where they land at, they put them back in our neighborhoods. And we see the result of that. Education-wise, overcrowded schools, especially at the elementary. I know in the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, especially the Bronx and Queens, you might have a handful of Black American kids. The rest of them can't speak English. How you think our kids are going to learn? Now they got to build new schools. Whose money is being used to build those new schools? Taxpayer dollars. A lot of people complain, and with some of these spaces, that immigrants, Black people, immigration we don't have is low hanging fruit. It's not low hanging fruit if you're paying taxes. It is a concern. White areas do not go through that because when they get those resources from the government and the state, it goes into improving their current system, not expanding all the time. I'll land it there.
And I'm just going to add on a little piece to what you was talking about, and I appreciate that you was spot on. And I'm going to add on to a little piece that you were talking about when it came to the farmers that they hired to go up over there in Wilkins Glen and open them wineries upstate. And you're 100% right about not only that, all them apple orchards up there, and they also be up there tapping those trees for maple syrup too. That's another thing they do upstate in New York. But to speak on what them farmers, they all don't go home from the summer. A lot of them sit there and they leave and they come down here. And I'm seeing the effects of that. When you drive through certain areas of Queens, you having on certain main strips and main drags of Queens and Brooklyn, you're seeing immigrants along these strips selling fruit and all of the other items that they were never there a year ago, 2 years ago, particularly during the Trump years. So that's another element. And I don't even have a problem with those people. I'm talking about people who are particularly uh coming over here to do crime. But once again, if you're here illegally, in my eyes, you're breaking the law. So that would be defined as being a criminal, right? So there you have it.
But what sense does rewarding people who break federal law, but then when black folks during the crime bill wave, we was getting locked up for the pettiest shit. But you can jump the border, break federal law, get housing, food, clothing, your kids get free education by claiming victim. I don't, I really, but then if we say something about it, then it's like, oh, shame on you. Well, you tell us all the time that we shouldn't break the law, and maybe we wouldn't be in those type of positions. But when we say it to others, then we some type of phobic. And a lot of the crimes in New York City in these tri-state areas, it's going to happen. I keep telling my people down south, I said, y'all, every time you see a wave of immigrants hitting the South, the crime is going to go up. Look at what happened in Alexandria, Virginia. They had a big time issue with a lot of MS-13 gang members in Alexandria, Virginia. Black people was getting murdered, killed out there in Alexandria. You don't hear nothing else about them, right? You know why? They cracked down on that shit. Them buses and stuff didn't stop in Alexandria, Virginia. Them buses rolled right past Alexandria. They dropped their asses off, and not all these people coming over are good. Because if you talk to some Hispanic people from that South American region, they will tell you a lot of their own people are coming over here are no good because they coming over here the wrong way, and they don't want to associate themselves with those people. Why do you think a lot of those towns in that Texas area is pushing back on that immigration, and these are Hispanics pushing back on their own people? If they pushing back on their own people, why black people got to sit there and side for them? I don't get it. Their own people telling them, come over here the right way. I did it. I got my paperwork. I didn't have to run from the cops. I'm not doing the drugs. I'm not shooting. I'm not killing. I'm not raping kids. If their own people are telling them that, why why should we open up our arms for somebody that don't that people they can't even co-sign for each other. But black folks want to sit there and co-sign for them. I don't get it. I landed there.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that, man. And this is all through history. In Florida during the 80s and 70s with that Mariana boat lift, that wet foot, dry foot shit, all of that plays into the level of crime. And we can even go further than that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm gonna say the meat of it till we really get deep in this conversation. I really want somebody to. I really want the contrarians to come speak to this. You know what I'm saying? You know, where all of the Democratic supporters who support immigration. I need them to. I want them on the front line right now. That's who I want to smoke with. All of these are the people of color talking people. The coalition people. That's who I want to have this discussion with. Honestly. Yeah, somebody bring him in here. Where that dude from the other night that was in here? That was in Tariq's space. Bring him in here, Mr. Haitian or Warnock man. Bring his ass in here. Bring all of them in here. Everybody that loves immigration, and we need to support immigration. Explain why immigration is bringing levels of high levels of criminality into this country, and can you disprove that? Because I could prove that it does. So let's go.
No, what's Warnock's man's name? His name is it's G something, right?
I forgot all these dudes' names, man. There's so many of them. It's like a little Democratic Shield Brigade going on right now. So, but bring them in here. That's who I want to talk to. All of the Rainbow Coalition, all of the Ukraine supporters, bring their ass in here too, so we can talk about it. Because there's a lot of Ukrainians coming up here in the New York area that's not being spoke about. Trust me, I see them. See, they fly under the radar. And man, matter of fact, I want to speak about something, brother. You permit and brother Cordier. Do y'all remember that case that happened in Long Island, where with the MS? Speaking of MS-13, where I believe they killed two young teenage girls, and the mother was out there protesting for them hard. And this was a Hispanic woman. They killed a Hispanic woman, a Hispanic girl, and a black girl. And the family was out there protesting hard. And did you know these bastards killed the mother too? But that's the case they don't talk about. They don't never. They always sweep that under the rug. And that happened out there in Suffolk, Long Island. And you already know who makes up the demographic of Suffolk County. But Gad, brother, you permit.
That was out there in Central Islip. It was a bunch of cases like that out there. It was a case out there in Central Islip in Brentwood. Um, the mother was protesting. They killed the mother. There was also another case out there where the MS-13 had killed another teenage girl and a guy, Hispanic. Both of them were Hispanic. That's when Trump first got elected. Went out there to Long Island. He had to call the feds to come do a federal investigation out there. They caught the MS-13 members, and that's when Trump called them. They were a bunch of thugs. They running drugs and human trafficking, and those are the scum. That's when Trump made that comment, and people was upset. But I remember Al Sharpton was the main one sounding off. Al Sharpton also forgot in Newark back in 2000, where MS-13 executed three people, because one of them, it was a total of four. Three kids died, Black American kids that was on their way back to school like a week later, supposed to been heading back to college. Four of them got executed, one survived. The girl survived, the three brothers, they died. See, this is what goes on. They use our kids as pawns, as bait, and we are still expected to extend our olive leaf for these individuals. We also have to remember, white folks used to do the same shit to us, and we didn't do this shit. All we did was move into their neighborhoods, migrate to their schools, we mind our damn business, and we didn't. And it was okay for them to tell us that we're not wanted, with no pushback. But see, the expectation is no matter how much pain and shit they do to us, it's expected for us to still extend that olive leaf branch. Just because Trump called them murderers, gang, and rapists, which they are, because Racer, you remember that they executed them, and that was part of their gang initiation: rape and execute. But this is what we're up against. But we're supposed to continue to have a soft heart for them, soft spot.
Let's talk about another case, recent case actually. You remember the Junior case? And this is from my neck of the woods, up in the Bronx. Remember that? See,
You
that was
took
the Dominican Territorials, and he's Dominican. Junior's Dominican.
right, and
So
he was wrong identity.
right, and they chopped him up in the middle of the street, broad daylight, in the
Yeah,
middle of the block, like this was some third world country.
with a machete. with a machete. Not a machete from Home Depot. They had one of them shits where you had to make that shit. Like that shit was like a samurai sword type shit. Only made it in country. How that shit get up over? Well, wood and a piece of metal, you can make anything. But yeah, they chopped them up in the middle of the street. Keep telling people, yo, people don't. A lot of people, if y'all down south, I'm telling you, go to your township municipal board meetings is once a month. Get put on to that crime. They send a crime bulletin out and start reading that shit and look at the names when they starting to arrest people. Cause I started to know an uptick here in Jersey. My wife was like, "Oh, they break it in houses." I said, "Well, that's the reason why I got what I had to get. Because you think I'm gonna sit here and somebody's in this house from New Brunswick and they don't go break into each other's houses. They go to the places that they got the nice homes in. Not saying where I live at is 100% nice, but you pick and choose when you're gonna break in your house, you know. But it is what.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's exactly what's been going on, man. And like I said, this it's not only now this past situations and past events that we could prove that what this stuff been happening. This is ever since immigration has been let out on a mass level, and once again, this is not only the immigration that we fought for, because particularly we were fighting for black immigrants to come over here when the dominant society, they didn't want anybody immigrating in here at the country at one time. Didn't matter if you was Latino, didn't matter if you was Asian, all these Indians coming over here, they didn't want anyone coming over here. And us thinking that we would fight for immigration, and a lot of our brothers and sisters from the diaspora will come over here and join us in the fight against white supremacy. Well, we see how that worked out. So I let everybody else fill in the blank. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming in here. If you can, tweet the space out. If you have anybody in the audience that's contrary or disagrees with the title, you're more than welcome to come on stage. Let's talk about it. If you know anybody, you know, that may disagree with the title, please bring them in here. I particularly want to talk to the immigration crowd. I want to talk to the DACA people. Bring them in here and let's talk about it. It seems like a lot of people like to duck and dodge this conversation, but I'm more than willing to have it, and I'm more than willing to debate the topic. But as you can see from not only me, but from plenty of people who have come on the stage to share their testimony, how immigration, is the reason for the high crime in the United States. Well, you know, you see what the people got to say. And that's another thing. If you notice that the lamestream media, when it comes to our point of view within the community, they don't ask people of the community. They ask these silly ass talking heads and these democratic shills and these people that are paid off to speak for us. And then you get people like Van Jones crying and apologizing for some Negroes who don't speak for me. So here you go.
Hey, Quadir, do you remember there was a Hispanic dude up there in that damn, what part of up there in that Parsippany area a couple of months ago, maybe a year, that he owned his own construction company in Patterson. Hispanic dude raped two girls, but he had his own construction company, moved down to Florida, ran from up here, went down to Florida. Somebody dropped dime on his ass. They had to extradite his ass from Florida back to Jersey to charge him with the rape of a 12 and 14-year-old girl.
Uh,
This dude had owned his own construction company up there in
Paris. That
yeah.
that that's wild. I'm originally from Patterson. That's my first time of hearing of this, but I'm not surprised. Something is always popping off in Patterson. Something
Yeah.
something is always happening, from the cops to the mayors. Mayors always going to jail. you know. But yeah, I'm not surprised.
And see, that's another thing. That dude, he raped. He was over here illegally, started up his own company, raped two underage girls. They Somebody dropped down on his ass in Florida and had to extradite him up here. That's a problem. Now, if everybody want to get on the nitty gritty of it, how many of us in this room have private health care insurance? Now, if you get sick today, you go to your hospital, you in that ER with private health care insurance that you pay for. Meanwhile, you got a bunch of immigrants in there that just jumped the border, they sick too. You have to wait for them to get seen if you came in there first come, first serve, right? Depending on the situation and everything. But why would you have to wait till you get seen and you in pain and they over here got to get attended to and don't belong? What if that was your child sitting in there and they keep telling miss or ma'am or sir, you trying to do the best, you see it's overcrowded and you know half them people in there or three-quarters of them don't even have insurance because they're over here illegally. That affects us in the healthcare system too. So it's a whole lot with this immigration stuff. Is it going to stop? No, but it needs to be some more controls of this. And I landed there.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, they need to shut immigration down for about 25 years at least. There should be nobody allowed to come into the country and gain citizenship for a good while. This country needs a whole entire reset completely. Because you can see by the way things are going, immigration nobody can really point out how, other than you people coming over here and being exploited for cheap labor, and then that doesn't benefit the communities across the country. That benefits the corporations and the people that hire these people for cheap labor. How does immigration actually benefit the communities in the country? There's no way to explain that. But if somebody that's willing to explain that, or has evidence of how so, please bring them on stage, man. Treat them, DM them, tell them to come up in here. Well, like I said, bring the dreamers in here. I want to have this discussion.
I just posted something in the Jumbotron. I follow U.S. tech workers, their group, because this is a U.S. based tech workers. They deal with, the tech industry. Um, they have a lot of pushback on these H-1B visas being issued out. And meanwhile, they have to train. A lot of these companies are being forced to train outsiders for their jobs. So when they push our kids to do STEM programs, get your kids into STEM programs, oh, STEM is the way to go. But if there's no jobs because they outsourcing the jobs, why are you setting your child up for potential failure? So this group is saying that, and they usually have a couple of rooms as well, that they were told, and these are white guys, white people. They said, well, damn, United States has fought for equal rights, affirmative action, and diversity in all these companies. But they said, we fought for that. One guy said his company that he worked for was very diverse. He said, but when they was told in order for them to get their severance package, they had to train this other group of people coming in from India to do their jobs. And he said most of the people he trained was all Indian men. So how can you preach diversity if they're outsourcing to 75% Indian men? How diverse these companies going to be if they keep doing that? See how that hurts us too. Quadir, I think you in the STEM industry. Do you have any experiences with that so far?
Well, at my job, it's pretty diverse, but it's not where I'm working. It's not too much of an issue. Yet, I say yet. But have you heard of the what's that hospital in Jersey City where that's also another huge issue?
You got Jersey City Medical Center, and you have the private one, which is Saint. Damn,
I,
the one downtown.
yeah, I think it's the private one. I think it's
Yep, that's the one downtown.
the private one. Now they have a huge issue with that going on. All the Indians. If you're not Indian, you get fired real quick. They treat people like crap up in there. There's always a lawsuit or something happening with that hospital. There's always something going on with that hospital. They don't take care of people the right way. It's rough up there. It's rough up in there. But no, but where I'm working currently working, it's not an issue. I would say I did apply to a job. I did apply to somewhere down at the NJDOT where a lot of people where all they do is hire their peeps, their friends and stuff. So it is an issue. It is an issue up here in general.
Do anybody have any experience dealing with that type of stuff in their industries? I know here in my township, it was funny because usually the township municipal workers has always been black and white. The township cleaning crew, the pothole repair people, the people who work in the municipal buildings and stuff, have always been black and white. There was a small uptick, not so much of immigrants, I mean Hispanic immigrants. But when I went to go get my pass to go get the permit to dump shit at the local dump, because we have to pay for that out here, walked into the office where those clerks used to be either black women or white women. I walked in the office, three Asian Indians in the office now working. So they are shoehorning themselves into these township political positions, committeemen, Congress people here in Jersey. Meanwhile, those municipal jobs that's being filled, which is literally a 7 to 3 Monday through Friday job, they're filling them with a lot of Asian Indians. The lady barely can speak English, taking my $25. This is what's happening. And let me remind everybody, this is a blue state. I'm right. I'm like,
Yeah, another thing, real quick. I was chilling with my homies, right, and they're from the Jersey City area, Bayonne area, and they were telling me, and one of my homies, he has a his brother, works in the medical field, and they know people that works in the medical field. So long story short, he knows somebody that's a doctor, and they were saying like the receptionist and everybody, they're all basically Hispanic now up in this area. And he was telling me that they would only hire each other, and if you're not one of them, you're not getting hired, right?
that's true because Hispanics and peep this, a lot of these companies, large company, one of the large companies I work for is a global large company, but here in the States, they their diversity and inclusion department, which is tied into human resources, they have a lot more representation of everybody. Companies are hiring more Hispanic women to fill these recruitment positions, and they got no goddamn problem hiring their own people, even if they're not qualified. Let me repeat myself. If you working in an organization and you go to their HR and you ask who's doing the hiring, if they got one of them Z's and stuff at the end of their names, I guarantee you they pulling their people in first, regardless of what credentials they have, before they hire one of us. So as we tell each other, that's another industry we got to start focusing and getting back into, human resource management. because we're getting pushed out. And if you're Indian in those positions, they hiring their own folks, and they have no problem hiring their own folks. And if they folk get terminated, they don't take that as a personal thing. They just said, "Damn it, I just hired his ass. Don't come to me with the bullshit." Versus us recommending somebody and having to have that burden put on us that, oh, you recommend this person screwed up. So that type of mindset of thinking has to start to disappear. Because as I see, a lot more of them will hire their own going, in these industries now.
A permit racial boat. I don't know if you guys know of this story, if you guys remember this, but do you remember a big thing in Jersey City? Well, my friends were affected by this. It was a big thing in Jersey City where they were saying that a lot of undocumented immigrants, they were lying on their birth certificates. They were lying on documentation and getting birth certificates. And what happened was is that anybody who was born in Jersey City within a certain time frame, no one accepted their birth certificates, even if it was legit. And that happened to one of my friends, and he's been tight about immigration, illegal immigration, because of that. You permitted? Do you know of that?
I think it was a couple of cases at Jersey City Medical Center back in the day. You got the new Jersey City Medical Center that's closer to the water, and you got the old one. I used to work at the old one and help build the new one in the food service department. They had an issue because the people who was working printing out those birth certificates was getting paid underneath the table to print out birth certificates at the old hospital years ago. That I'm not sure the time frame, but I do remember that because a lot of people got fired from the labor and delivery ward because a lot of those clerks was putting in, they was using real names, but putting in the documentation to print birth certificates and or saying that this is what is it, a replacement birth certificate. So yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, man, that affected a lot of people, man. When they tried to go, go to school and do stuff, man, it was a hassle for them to do everything that they needed to do because of that.
Yeah, and I'm well aware of that because you have to go through an extra mile to, validate your identity. You know what I'm saying? Which has been a problem, period. Yeah, brother Chuck.
Doing this morning.
Peace, brother. Peace
Peace,
to you.
peace.
Everybody doing lovely. Well, at least I am.
Good, good. Um, you know, kind of touching on what the young brother was saying early on. Um, the problem is that once we get into these positions of hiring, a lot of times us as black people are looking at each other as competition, whereas we should be looking at each other as giving each other an opportunity. Like when I got out of college, my first job was at a parts manufacturing plant back in Detroit that I was from. And the first couple of days that I walked on the floor, they hired me in the HR position, and I didn't see any black people. And they said, "Oh man, we need some people." And so I went out and I'm posting flyers in corner stores, drug stores, talking to cousins, baby mamas, everything, getting people jobs. Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody else is doing. And we can't be scared to um, uh, get somebody in. Get them in. If they fuck up, they fuck up. As long as you're not fucking up, that's on them. It's your job and it's our responsibility as black people to get us inside the doors, get us in positions of hiring where we can make those moves. Now, fast forward 20 years, I have my own construction company out here in DC, and I've seen the change. But for me, I hired when I first started. I didn't know a lot of stuff, so I had to go to a bunch of Spanish cats. But on the flip side of it, I had brought in some little young dudes up under them. Hey, learn this, learn this, learn this. You want to learn drywall? Go ahead and learn drywall. I'm gonna put you over there. You want to learn electrician? Go ahead, work with them. And I will pay these kids to work underneath my different subs so that they could get their hours in and so they could become master electricians, master plumbers, and things of that nature, and then flip them over into their own business. And now those same young kids now have their own business and they work under me, and I was able to move those the Hispanics that I had working for me out from underneath me. But again, I don't look at it as competition. I look at it as we all are in this thing together. And if we all gonna rise, we gonna rise together. I can go out and get a contract to do construction. That's nothing. I mean, I've got enough people in enough places that I can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, you and I went to school together. You are a senior project manager for XYZ company. I need some work." But do you think I'm gonna be scared to say, okay, well, I'm gonna bring these young kids along with me, along for the ride that I'm going on? No, because everybody needs money, everybody needs an opportunity, and we just have to do the same thing that every other race of people is doing, and open up the doors and quit being scared and looking at each other as competition. And that's all I got to say. I'll land.
Yeah, thank you, brother Chuck, and I agree with you. You know, you shouldn't be looking at each other as competition. Everybody should look at each other as, you know, you got to look at each other as parts of Voltron. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have somebody's going to be the head. You're going to have an arm over here. You're going to have an arm over here. You're going to have a leg over here. You're going to a leg over there. But we got to put it all together and get it right. That's how that's got to go. But you're 100% right, brother. I agree with you, and thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You know, with the hiring, I just want to piggyback. One of my boys is he was a recruiter down in that Maryland area, and Miss Gazelle had mentioned about going up to Morgan State and how Morgan State is a HBCU, and but the engineering department is a lot more. You know, immigrants are in the engineering department because Morgan State has a good engineering program. So one of my boys that was a technical recruiter said that he noticed that when he went up there to recruit that he couldn't find any black Americans in the engineering department for the companies and stuff he was recruiting for, which was a shocker. But he also found out that with a lot of these Asian Indians, what they do is you might have, and this is how they get down with the IT stuff. They bring over their own people from India, right, on H-1B visa. They might not know enough to work in the tech industry with computers and stuff. So what they do is they have that one or two Indians that have graduated from a program. Say they graduated from NYU and Albany State. They will sit there and train the handful of group of men how to work in IT, either coding or doing something like that, right? They put on their application that they graduated from the University of Sri Lanka, some shit over there. So when you check who's doing the reference check, they're people who works in HR because they're not going to snitch on each other. So they come back clean. They start at these jobs making $85,000, $90,000 a year, right? Meanwhile, they don't have the credentials. But what happens is they have to pay that person that have trained them how to do that job in that basement of their house. So they pay them, say they might have to pay them out of $80,000 a year salary. They got to pay them $500 a month for the next 2 years. This is how they get down with that shit. So they sit there and tell you, yeah, I graduated from a college over in my country. Half the time that shit's some bullshit. Because whoever's doing the reference check, if I call over there, I got to get an interpreter. So they're not going to do, they're going to have that Indian woman call over there and she gonna say, the hell with it, this is my people. Yeah, he needs a job. It's $80,000, bring him in. So that's what happened is that's also what's happening with a lot of these hiring practices on these companies as well.
That is true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had me and one of my good friends got into it a couple months ago because she works at a big restaurant chain as the head of HR, and she went back to my college campus, and I was like, so did you get some good students from the campus? And she's like, oh, it just wasn't no talent there. And I'm telling her, like, what the fuck? Like, you supposed to be developing talent, even if they don't have the talent. Like, like for me, I've always been like this. Even when I was in HR, if your name was Black or I saw you went to a HBCU, you going in the door. I'm gonna call you on the back end after I get off work. I'm giving you all the interview questions and answers, who you talking to, what you need to say to get yourself in the door. Now I can do all that. Once you get inside the door and do what you need to do, you figure it out. But I'm gonna lay the groundwork for you because again, that's what everybody else is doing. It's all a game. And but again, it goes back to the competition thing where, oh man, well, hey, I don't want Rachel Bowe to get this job because Rachel Bowe might become my boss. Or I don't want Quadir to get the job because my boss might end up liking him more than he likes me, and he might get the promotion before me. Fuck all that. Just get inside the door, do your job, shut the fuck up, and keep on rolling.
So you mean to tell me your friend that's a recruiter for a restaurant chain went to Tuskegee for their hospitality in their hospitality department to recruit for that restaurant chain, and she didn't find any talent in that hospitality department of Tuskegee. The reason why I know about that school in your school because I went to Alabama A&M.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. And sat there and told me that with a straight face. And I had it out because like I told her, I said, you supposed even if they're not ready, you supposed to get them ready. You supposed to have be having sessions on the back end, pulling them in, saying this is how you dress, this is what you're supposed to wear, this is a question that I'm gonna ask you, this is what your expectations are, so that you're prepared. So when you get in front of the people who are making the decision, you already know. But again, if somebody's scared of the competition, saying, "Hey, man, listen, well, I tried to get this person in, I tried to get this person in," and then on the back end, you really ain't trying to get them in. You might have set them up just for face value of getting them an interview, but you didn't prepare. I say if you're in a position of power, especially higher up within some of these companies, as a Black person, it's your responsibility. Again, for me, when I was in HR, I'm calling you on the back end, telling you everything you need to know, so that when you sit in front of the people who making the decisions for you to work inside their department, you know everything that you need to know. You're comfortable. You can make your great first impression and get the job. But I'm not caring about, well, this person will get the job. They might make $100,000. I'll make it 60. I don't give a damn about that because again, this is how the game is played by everybody else. But we don't play the game the same way. We're always in competition with one another, wanting to uh, 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 shit, bump heads with one another inside the door about who's the most important Negro on the team. And at the end of the day, y'all both niggas at the end of the team on the end of the day, because that's what everybody else looking at you like. But you got to get in, work it, get yourself in a position where you can jump and hire the next person or bring the next person on, and then it just rolls from there.
You're right because they do it without a beat. They do it all the time, and it's very
Yeah,
evident.
without thinking about it. It kind of like you said, man. Them dudes be coming over there with fake diplomas and all that shit. You get right in the door, get busy.
Concern, you go ahead, concern. Brother Chuck, you
Hey,
want to
good
say something else?
morning. Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, concern.
Good morning, everybody. This conversation obviously is right up my alley. Um, Where do I want to start? First, my daughter went to Howard, graduated from there, and she worked in an internship while she was in school. And there were a lot of Howard alums, and it was just really heartbreaking to hear the lack of support that she got from the people there. And like Chuck just said, the way you're supposed to do it. I understand it. When you bring somebody in, especially in our position, you feel like, their bad performance and behaviors or whatever might impact your job. And that's not necessarily so far fetched, but the way to counteract that is to be proactive and to have offsite meetings. Like you said, you know, these people that she worked with that were also Black American and Howard alums, you would have thought that they would have pulled her to the side and, and gave her pointers and made her a stronger candidate. And, that's not what's being done. But I think, that's actually what has to be done. You bring people in and you give them the 411. And even once they're in the door, you do want to have mentoring networks and offsite, get-togethers, and that's just something that's intentional. I'm not saying that's something that we would do naturally in the state we're in. I think we need to actually be more intentional. My other experiences with immigration in the workplace is recently I've been dipping my toe back in, and I notice on all of these applications, particularly if they are remote, they ask if you are going to require sponsorship. So we're competing, globally with immigrants, or with the, I guess, in the global marketplace. And just some tips on how to get some sort of competitive edge. I was asked, do I read, write, and speak Spanish? And I thought about it for a minute. And I went to Amazon and looked up translators and saw that they cost just maybe a couple $100 for a device I could hold up to somebody that speaks another language and have it translated. So I then marked yes to all three questions. Yes, bitch, I do read, write, and speak Spanish. So it's all about getting through that first screening process. The other thing I want to just put people on is the fact that, believe it or not, and unfortunately, I would say about 45-50% of Black Americans have some condition, medical condition, that puts them on the federal Schedule A disability list. And I encourage you all to look it up and to look and see if you have a condition that is listed on that. Because then I want to direct you to go to your doctor and just get a doctor's letter on their letterhead. And then I want to send you to usajobs.gov, where your competition with the immigrant pool is vastly reduced. Um, if you are a Black American who is, I would say, over 35, when our health issues start to show up, you're probably more likely to be able to get a doctor's note. And then what this will do is actually allow you to apply for government jobs, of which there are high paying remote and local government paying jobs that allow you to compete with jobs that the public can't compete for. And I won't belabor the point on how that presents a very specific competitive advantage for Black Americans. But go to usajobs.gov, get to work on your profile, get your resume together, and get your doctor's letter and load it into the system. And every time you apply for a government, state, or any type of municipal job, you should include that letter. And then that took me to housing and other types of things. And, some probably know I'm down with the Freedman designation. So I have a newfound appreciation for the benefits associated with different classes. And disabled is a class. And unfortunately or fortunately, very large percent of us fall under that class, and there are benefits associated with it. Did you know that past alcohol and drug use is a federal Schedule A disability. And if you get a doctor's letter that states that, you can't be discriminated against in terms of housing, employment. So I want people to start thinking about that. I mean, it's a life hack, but it's right there. And a majority of us could use that little competitive edge. Let me say finally, I really want to recommend Back of the Hiring Line, the book by Roy Beck that really goes in depth about all of this ethnic networking, which is what we're talking about, how you basically Hispanics, people get into jobs. Next thing they've uh, replaced the entire workforce. And then all of the job postings go on the Spanish speaking Facebook posts, because that's where the jobs be posted, on these Spanish speaking Facebook pages. That's ethnic networking. That's completely shutting us out. That's language discrimination.
Yeah, just real quick, I completely agree with Don with the U.S. Gov jobs, because the competition with immigrants is greatly reduced. So I do recommend people seeing what type of jobs you could get. Go up on there, look at what jobs they have, and just apply.
I'm going to post the site because it also gives you all the instructions. There are YouTube videos on how to put your resume together. And the most important point is that you have to list your job, how much you got paid per week. And you just got to make sure that your resume matches up with the assessment test, because what you want to do is get through that screen. But I'm going to post the stuff up here in the Jumbotron now.
I third that about the USA.gov. I got direct hire off of some of the jobs when I first got out of the military, but I would also find resources like I think Pacific Nevada. If someone's in Nevada, but I'm in California now. If someone's in Nevada, there's people that help you with the USA.gov resumes or set up the profiles as well. So I would try to tap in those resources as well. Yeah, thank you, Don, for mentioning that as well. So.
Yeah, I'm speaking from experience. When something happens to me, I try to put everybody on game. I was trying to get this like straight up Reconstruction 2.0 job with the USDA in rural development, and it was closed to the public. And the person, the hiring manager, just sent me this snippy little note back. Well, yeah, you're right. It's only internally recruited. If you were a veteran or on the Schedule A disability list, you would be able to apply. And I was like, damn. And then I said, wait a minute, let me go look this up. And I'm telling you, cardiovascular disease, any type of cardiovascular disease, is a schedule. It has its own code. Asthma, depression. Do you know that 40 to 45% of men and 48% of women in Black American community have a cardiovascular disease of some sort? That a missing limb, thyroid, diabetes is a Schedule A federal disability, y'all. Now, you get your doctor's letter. Then imagine when you're applying for loans. I'm telling you, disability is a class that has benefits associated. I'm not saying lean all on it, but shit, use it.
Oh yeah, USA.gov is also the website you can apply for ICE as well. So all my brothers and sisters who want to apply for ICE, USA.gov is the website. So
Oh, snap.
yeah.
I did not know that. I will spread that.
Yes, please, brothers and sisters. If if you're looking for work and what I'm saying, you need a job, we definitely need brothers and sisters to apply for ICE.
Yes,
That'll be
and
a good
I'm
look.
telling y'all, they got such good paying remote jobs. They got outreach jobs, like liaison jobs. There's part-time jobs and the benefits. And the point is you want to get into these positions like procurement and whatever, those type of positions. Those are gatekeeping positions. That's when you get into positions where the people who say yes or no to your contract or et cetera, let you into the bidding pool. But the point is the benefits are solid. um, the benefits are solid, and I think that's a form of representation. We need representation in these civic positions, civil servant positions as well, in my opinion. But I put it up in the jumbotron, so everything you need to know, like he also said about probably local representatives in your area that can help you with your application. But they have part-time, temporary, remote. But I think we'll, like I said, I think we'll have the most competitive advantage at like middle management type of jobs. But there's social work jobs. There's all kind of jobs that you can get that where you actually would be helping our community and getting paid for it, literally. And that's why we have all of these Hispanics moving into these type of jobs. They're standing in the way of us in housing. Um, the list for Section 8 is like, miles and years long. Who's in those positions at the Health and Human Services office? Gonzalez and Lopez and Vindy and Skith and et cetera, et cetera. We have to have, you don't have to run for office only for representation. There are multiple ways that we can increase our representation in this country.
I was looking up that Schedule One disability thing as well. I guess for people who needs affordable housing, depending on that Schedule One, you can get the how you call it.
A, Schedule
Yep,
A.
Schedule A. Yeah, sorry about that. Non-elder.
But yeah, you're right. The Section 8 thing, for real.
So you get like elderly housing. Like some of those houses, depending on which area, those elderly houses are pretty good and they're cheap as well. So yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I'm looking at it for my mom actually. My mom has multiple.
And so we might assume just because we're elderly or our people are elderly, like your mom, you say she might not. Okay, she could have, diabetes and hypertension and all these things, but not actually have gone to the doctor and said, just write this one sentence. There's also a template for the letter that your doctor writes, and all it says is you are eligible to be classified as this, that, the other. They don't list the specific condition, but I bet your mother doesn't have a letter on file, and every time she goes to do anything, she also produces that letter. So we just walking around and not taking advantage of something, but that's on purpose. That of course we don't know about it. But yeah, I would have your mom get a letter from the doctor, and the template is online as well. And then, when, because that elderly or senior housing, you'll be on that for years. My aunt is like 80. She been on the list for affordable elder, those senior complex for like 10 years. So I bet she doesn't have any paperwork on file that says that she has a history of cancer, which is also, so if you had breast cancer, realize that qualifies you for a Schedule A disability letter.
I'm about to call my mama right now.
Word.
Yeah, me as well in a couple of minutes. So with that being said, I'm actually about to close down the space. I thought I was gonna have more time than
Yeah,
this.
let me call my aunt. I'm sitting here talking trash. Let me call her too.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Race both. Thanks for the space.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming in, man. I actually wanted to go longer. So what I'll probably do is I'll open up a space a little later because I thought I was gonna have the time, but I don't. I have to go bust a move. You know what I'm saying? The work doesn't stop.
No
But
doubt.
you know, everybody take care. You know what I'm saying? I'll be floating around the Twitter street, so I'll see you. But you know, if I don't see you, everybody take care. Have a blessed day and peace.
Yep.
Power and reparations to y'all.